There you go. This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, that's a first. Okay. All right. This is the Board of Directors meeting of Lehigh County Authority, May 24th, 2021. The meeting is being held virtually due to the ongoing pandemic, which hopefully is waning a little bit. We all should have had received our packages in the mail and also electronically. There were a couple revisions. I think Lisa will get into those. And we'll have a roll call now of the Board of Directors, followed by staff, followed by the public.
All right. Thanks, everyone, and good afternoon. Start with the roll call of the board. Brian Noggle.
Here.
Scott Bieber. Dick Bonner.
Here.
Norma Cusick.
Here.
Ted Lyons. Kevin Baker.
Here.
Linda Rosenfeld.
Here.
Jeff Morgan. Amir Famili.
Present.
All right, we do have a quorum with 6 board members present. We have our solicitor, Mike Gall from Kingsbry on the call.
Good morning.
Morning, or good afternoon.
Right.
Along with authority staff, in addition to myself, Lisa Gross, we have John Parsons, Chris Maughan, Chuck Volk, Susan Sampson, Andrew Moore, Phil DePoe, Lisa Miller, and Todd Marion. And we have Brian Chamberlain from the city of Allentown on as a member of the public. And that's who we have today.
Okay.
We do seem to be having a little bit of feedback on the call, so we would ask members to mute if you're not speaking to try to cut back on the feedback. Not the people feedback, just the electronic noise feedback. We want all the feedback, just not the noise. Okay.
Hey, hi, Lisa. It's Scott.
Scott is here.
Nice, Scott.
Duly noted. We're up to 7 board
Brian.
members.
I couldn't get internet service, so I'm calling in on my phone.
Okay. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's see. Everybody should also have received a packet in the mail, board members, for the 2021 budget and also the 5-year comprehensive capital plan. Did everybody receive their package for the board meeting and also the budget information?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good. All right. Let's review the agenda. Any need for any changes, corrections, additions, and any need for executive session?
We have no specific changes to the agenda today. I do have a couple of items to cover under staff comments. And then an executive session has been scheduled for later today after the conclusion of this meeting to discuss matters of personnel and also legal matters.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
Question. Did we get another link for that?
Yes.
When did it go out?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can resend it by email after this meeting. If everyone needs it, I can resend that.
I think it came out around 12:38 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell me, what are you saying? That something collapsed?
I'm sorry?
Dick, please repeat what you tried to say, what you said.
Did I hear somebody say that something collapsed? Or am I dreaming?
We were discussing that we have an executive session planned for after this meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move on now to the approval of the minutes from the May 10th, 2021 board meeting.
I have two very minor light comments applied to the last paragraph you will find on page 5 under staff comments. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7th line down, it starts, Ms. Gross stated that there should be have been instead of has been, have been. And also the second line down, the authority staff is reviewing rather than the authority staff are reviewing. With those two minor notations, I make a motion we accept the minutes to the May 10th, 2021 meeting.
I'll second that. This is Norma.
Thank you. Motion made by Dick and seconded by Norma. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, I think Scott, I think you were not at that last meeting, so you should probably abstain.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're correct. I'll abstain.
Okay, thank you.
I should abstain too, Brian.
Kevin, we do have you on most of that meeting. Did you? All right.
I had it in my head that
Okay. All right, so the ayes have it. Do we have enough with the abstentions to approve the minutes? Mr. Solicitor?
Yeah, my understanding is that you do, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Just wanted to make sure we're legal on that. All right, at this time, we open up the floor to any public comments on non-agenda items. Anybody wish to say anything?
I don't have anything.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, at this time, we move into action and discussion items. The only topic we have is under wastewater. This morning, I think it was, we received a new version of that document. I think it just changed the title. And I also noted that it's for design phase approval, not construction phase approval.
Yeah.
Right, so go ahead, Chuck. You can take it over.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Hello, everybody. The project I have for you guys today is for design phase of the project to replace the boilers and associated HVAC system for the solids processing system over at Klein's Island. What the present system consists of primarily is 3 boilers. 2 of them heat the anaerobic digesters, and the other one heats the digester control building and the sludge dewatering building. The 2 boilers that heat the anaerobic digesters, they are located in a basement beneath a causeway that connects the digester control building with the dewatering building. As such, maintenance is a huge issue for those boilers. To perform major maintenance on them and remove pieces of them, concrete slabs have to be removed that are above the boiler. And each slab section is 1,100 pounds. So maintenance has been an issue since they were installed in 1995. The 3rd boiler is located in a garage at grade. So the 2 digesters that are heated by the 2 boilers, the boilers are required to heat the digesters to 95 degrees for a minimum detention time of 15 days. This is per DEP to achieve Class B biosolids pathogen reduction and to stabilize the sludge to enable it to be dewatered. So as such, this is a very critical system. If the heating system were to be interrupted in a major way and the digester temperature to go down of the contents, we would have to landfill the sludge instead of land applying it, which is what we do now, at a cost of about 5 times the present cost of land applying. So this system, the digesters are heated, like I said, from these two boilers. They've been problematic since they've been installed in '95. Basically, there were some design errors that were made when this project was done. There was an erroneous assumption that the BTU value for the digester gas was 1,100 BTUs per cubic foot of gas. The BTU value is actually about half of that. And so the gas mixture is very lean, and the digesters have had problems, or the boilers rather, have had problems heating those digesters using the biogas since they were installed. The fuel switchover system has never worked properly to switch from natural gas to digester gas. And these are single burner style boilers where there is a single actuator that controls both the fuel mixture, whether it be natural gas or digester gas, and also the dampers. And plant staff have done a great job over many years to modify this system so that it does in fact work on digester gas. For instance, one of the things that they've done was they closed one damper. Each boiler has two dampers, and they permanently closed one and then limited the range of motion on another one just to rig it so it would work on digester gas. Boiler number 3 cannot operate on digester gas while the other boilers are heating the digester. And also problem is water temperature. The hot water temperature varies continuously throughout the day, and pretty much requires that these boilers cycle on and off. And if the run time is going to be less than 15 minutes to come up to temperature, to contents temperature of the tanks, then the boilers do not fire at all on biogas. So those have been some of the problems with these boilers throughout the years. And since they are pretty much at the end of their service life, we'd like to replace them with properly sized boilers. And what the basis of design proposes is 2 boilers to consolidate the present 3 boilers into 2 boilers, and each boiler will be sized adequately to handle the whole load. So you'll always have one as backup. And the boilers will be installed at grade in an expanded garage where the number 3 boiler presently is. And then associated HVAC upgrades are part of the basis of design as well, that heat the spaces that deal with the solids processing. So what I'm asking for is approval of design phase authorization to our consultant, who is GHD. GHD was selected based on their knowledge of the solids processing system over there at Klein's Island. They have done a few projects over there. The most recently was the rehab of primary digester number 2. And plant staff feels that they did a good job. The project was delivered on time and on budget. So we'd like to stay with GHD for this critical project. With that, I might have given you a little too much of the technical stuff, but I'll entertain any questions.
Any board member questions?
Chuck, the corrosive environment doesn't have anything to do with the reason we're changing the boiler. It's just the fact that there's not enough, the amount of BTU coming from the off gas is not enough, and we have incomplete sort of burn. And that's the reason with the change, correct?
Yeah, they've been problematic. It's less of the corrosion issue is big with the HVAC stuff, but not with the boilers themselves. I'll also add, Amir, that the design criteria used for these boilers, they require 12 inches of water column. Water column is a unit of measure of gas pressure. used for digesters. The digesters, actually, the gas pressure is about half that. So plant staff had to retrofit gas boosters to boost the gas pressure to satisfy those boilers. So if they would have replaced the boilers exactly in kind with the boilers that were there, that were put in 1978, they would have operated fine. Although we still may have to be replacing them to this day, but it certainly would have costed a lot less money over the years.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chuck, have we gotten any DEP violation notices or anything like that from the operation or the problems that we've run into with operating those boilers?
Not that I know of, Brian. I think plant staff have done a great job with just rigging it and modifying things to maintain an uninterrupted heating of the sludge, which I don't know that we've ever had to land apply. Maybe John would know that.
Well,
I don't think
it
we've
sounds
ever
like
gotten a violation of any kind because of that. Not off the top of my head. So I would say no.
it's commendable for the staff to be able to jury rig the system to make it work and function, not receive any DEP violations.
Yeah, for sure. I'll also add that when those boilers were put in the basement, they had to get a code variance from the city because there's less than 4 foot of clearance around the boilers. So it's a very difficult maintenance area.
Sounds like a safety issue as well. So
it is.
All right, super. Any other questions from the board? Public questions? All right, we have before us a capital project authorization for the design phase of the solids process boiler and HVAC system upgrade project. Total amount of $175,159, which includes a professional services authorization for the design to GHD Incorporated for $147,659.
So moved.
Right, that was Norma.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Norma.
Second.
Second by Linda.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Linda. All right, we have a motion made and seconded for approval of this capital project authorization design phase project. And if you go to the actual capital project authorization sheet itself for ADS 20, the title on that was incorrect and was corrected today, and should be on our website as corrected. And it's also not for construction phase, but it's for the design phase, just to make sure it's accurate there. All right, so motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Thanks, Chuck. All right, moving on the agenda, we have the monthly financial review. It's the April report was included within our packet.
So for this one, actually Ed Klein is off today and will not be able to join us. I sent out his presentation that he normally gives. It's a companion to the report that's also posted on our website, and would recommend that we hold questions for Ed until he's back in June.
Okay, thank you. Are we switching over to the presentation?
No, I was suggesting that we hold this item until Ed is
Oh, the entire item. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, we do have Todd Marion and also our county supervisor Linda Eberhard are both on the call if there are questions about the report. But you know, Ed's presentation is his
Okay.
his creation, so I'd like to have him provide it to you when he's back.
All right, thank you. Any board members want anything different? All right, we'll move on then. The next item is item number 8 on our agenda, the monthly system operations overview, and we did also receive that report attached to our documents.
Hello, everyone. That'll be mine. This is the report from April 2021. Water production in Allentown, 21.62 MGD. Sean Spring, 7.77 MGD. And I'd just like to point out that despite a very dry spring so far, we are still getting good production from Sean's. 7.77 is well over our 2020 average. Groundwater around here is still doing well. It's the precipitation that's the problem. And we'll be adding some more to that further into my presentation. Crystal Spring produced 3.75 MGD. We pulled 10.06 MGD out of the Lehigh Creek, and we operated the Lehigh River at 40,000 gallons per day. Total for Central Lehigh, 10.94 MGD, 7.23 of that coming from Allentown, 3.71 of that coming from the Central Lehigh Division wells, and all other suburban water systems total 130,000 gallons per day. Pines Island treated 31.82 MGD. The pretreatment plant treated 5.26 MGD, and all 5 of the other suburban wastewater systems treated a total of 180,000 gallons per day. Precipitation totals, as I mentioned, we're going to expand a little bit upon this. 1.22 inches for April. That is a little bit alarming. That's extremely low for April. I was on a couple of websites this morning for PA, and the typical rainfall for the Allentown area in April is 3.6 inches, so we're roughly a third of that. Add to that, May is generally around 4.1 inches, and we're currently, based on our weather station at the wastewater plant, we're currently at 1.5 inches. So we're again almost a third of that in the months that are generally wet. So it's a little alarming that we're heading into the summer when we typically would face the drier months with such a dry spring. So we are paying close attention to that. And Lisa, do we have any of the other things to share?
Sure. 1 second. Oh, Chris, can you co-host me, please?
You're the wrong person co-host. My bad.
Thank you.
On this particular map, you can see 2 areas in Pennsylvania that are what they're classifying as abnormally dry. We haven't reached any of the drought statuses yet, but we're abnormally dry. And this particular shot goes from Harrisburg to York to Philadelphia, up through Allentown and Hazleton, and up through the entire Poconos. Again, having been classified as abnormally dry. So we will see where that goes from here. Hopefully we start seeing some rain soon. There's not a lot scheduled for the rest of the month of May, so I'm not, other than next Friday, I'm not really sure that we're going to get a whole lot more than what we've already accumulated. We do monitor constantly as the conditions of the area, both groundwater and surface water. You can see the example here is May 15th. We monitor the Upper Macungie Park Quarry for feet above sea level, the Lower Macungie monitoring well, feet below casing top, and Little Lehigh Creek at the USGS gauging station on South 10th Street, cubic feet per second. And based on these criteria that were established by Al Giuseppe as part of our watershed monitoring program, you can see that despite the low levels of rain we've had the last couple months, we are still in green as far as achieving normal conditions. So again, we do monitor this constantly, good or bad, and we're just giving you an example today of what we do every month to monitor what we have going in the waterways and the groundwater systems. So back to my monthly report, compliance report submitted to Allentown was 35, NOVs was 0, Sanitary sewer overflows and bypasses, we had one that occurred at the New Sand Spring wastewater treatment plant, April 29th and 30th. A unit process was taken offline as part of a startup problem, and even though the sewage still received biological treatment and disinfection, DEP still classifies this as a plant bypass, and accordingly, that's R1 for the month. Main break repairs, Allentown had none, Suburban had 2. Customer service phone inquiries, 1,699. Water shutoffs for non-payment, 228. Injury accidents, we had 1. That was at the Kleins Island wastewater treatment plant, where part of the hypo disinfection startup, there was a temporary station that was set up, and one of our supervisors received a little bit of a splash from hypo that leaked from one of the fittings. That was subsequently fixed and will not be part of the full-scale plant once everything is installed. So luckily that was what we would call a near miss. Emergency declarations for the month, there were none. Significant repairs and upgrades, nothing to report. I've talked about the NOVs and SSOs, and despite the small hypo incident we had last month, we are extremely happy to see that the chlorine gas is about to be taken offline forever, to be replaced with sodium hypochlorite. That's what we use at the water plant. The operators are used to it. It's much safer. It's just, there's a list of reasons why it was better off for us to change to this. And all the staff, especially those at the wastewater treatment plant, wants to thank everyone for making this happen. If there are any questions, I will answer them as best I can.
Okay, thanks, John.
Oh, thank you.
All right, moving on to staff comments. Liesl, you said you had some, or 8-1.
I have 2, just briefish ones, I think. I wanted to first just share with you that last week, a group of municipalities and municipal authorities joined together to hold a joint meeting with the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System to discuss their financial reporting challenges and the delays that we've experienced. We're not alone in experiencing those delays in financial reporting. And so it was a good opportunity to meet the new staff. Apparently there's been a pretty tremendous staff turnover at PMRS. They have a new executive director, a new CFO, a new client relations manager, a new program manager, and several other staff members that we met that were all basically new within the last 6 months. We received some assurances regarding their plans to get back on track, and but they did mention that their reporting to us is going to be delayed roughly to the same schedule that Ed had reported to you last month, which is potentially September or August, that we'll get everything we need to complete our audit. So they were forthright and transparent about the challenges and laid out their plans to get back on track. Their goal is to, going into 2022, to be back on track with all of their normally scheduled items for financial reporting, member statements, and all of those things. So I just wanted to share that we had that outreach with PMRS, and I know everyone has been concerned about the reporting, the late reporting, and management of our pension program, and we did receive some assurances that they're getting back on track and reorganizing. Their staff, actually, I was surprised to hear that their staff was reduced to about 50% of what it had been previously. So they're on a major hiring kind of mode right now and getting back up to their normal full staffing, and their entire leadership team has turned over. So I feel pretty good about the folks that we met. Ed Klein did join me for that call, and he feels similarly reassured on that one. Any questions or comments about that before I move on?
Any sense from why they had such a large reduction in staff? Was it people exiting on their own, or were there changes being made to staff and management? And what was the cause of that? I mean, we need to be very comfortable, as I think you've mentioned, that money is safe and going to be managed properly, and the reporting will come out properly. Right.
Yeah, so apparently this has been going on for quite some time, and this is a succession planning challenge more than anything, is what I gathered from the conversation. There had been an executive director who was there for a very long time by the name of Jim Allen, who was very, very skilled and did a lot of good things for us for many years. He retired several years back, and they've kind of been through a couple different rounds of leadership since then. And so, between the leadership changeover and some technology problems that they've had, have really kind of left some of the staff feeling like they weren't on the right path. So what they've done is they started a system installation a year and a half ago that apparently went very, very poorly. And they have recently worked to do a re-implementation of that system so that they can get back on track, and bringing in new leadership who will focus on culture, retention, staff development, seem to be the things that they are focusing on. From a financial performance perspective, the board of directors as well as the fund itself are really very healthy, and the board is very pleased with how the fund has been performing. They were managing about $2.8 billion worth of pension funds in 2020, and they've grown that to $3.4 billion over a relatively short period of time through their staff transition and managing the funds a little differently. But overall fund performance has been very strong. So it's been primarily a technology and a culture problem.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's an important topic, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. The audit issues that they've had have really been focused on IT controls that are not necessarily in place with the technology transfers that they were working on. So doing a re-implementation of that system is going to be how they get through that.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Another topic?
Yes, the other topic I wanted to raise is just an follow-up to our discussion at the last meeting about the pandemic and our operational modes now. We have made some internal changes that will go into effect June 1st, right after the holiday, where folks will be working in the office a little bit more, but maintaining the flexibility for the remote work and social distancing and all those kinds of things. And we'll also be doing some limited opening of our offices for public access. So those are good, positive improvements. Also really wanted to focus just on the board meeting concepts, because we talked about that a little bit last time. And I know Mike Gall has done a little bit more research and thoughts on what that means, and obligations, if any, to have public access to our physical space for meetings, and then also to give Chris Mullen a chance to share some of the technology that he's been working on to make hybrid meetings work for a building. So I'll start with Chris. Do you want to share a little bit of what you've been working on?
Sure. We're switching the main conference room around a little bit. Historically, we used a different platform, but we're going to convert our main conference room into a Zoom meeting room, which would allow the same kind of opportunities that all remote users wanted to watch live, but now we'll have a more participatory opportunity for people that want rather stay at home and join our meetings. So, blessing in disguise type situation. Whereas normally we would only allow people to watch, now moving forward as of June 7th, our next board meeting, public can join and participate as they do here, but we will also be able to broadcast live from our conference room using the Zoom platform.
In that regard, would the board be able to meet there?
Absolutely. So the one thing you'll notice, I don't know if you've ever watched any of our meetings historically and after one, we'll get a wide shot of the conference room, and audio and video feed will go out normally as if it was a regular meeting. But we will also be able to have people from the public or board members who would rather join from home or have to miss a meeting and they're in a remote location will be able to join in a much easier fashion.
Okay, thank you.
So from a board perspective, I think we are still, and Mike jump in anytime, we are still under a Pennsylvania declared emergency. So I don't believe there's any prohibition from us continuing to meet this way. But would like to get some board feedback on when you might want to transition to either hybrid or all live in-person meetings. If anyone has an opinion.
Well, this is Scott. I would definitely, I'm looking forward to getting back to regular meetings in person as soon as possible. I've had my COVID shots. I don't know how many other board members have had COVID shots, but I think it's safe to go back to a regular meeting.
Right. Other opinions from board members?
This is Kevin. I don't really have a strong opinion. I mean, I think if it's if the CDC says it's okay for vaccinated people, there's no real obstruction to us. You know, if the majority want to do that, that's fine by me.
Well, let me just say one thing. But my understanding is that after May 31st, there will not be any restrictions concerning capacity limits or the closure of businesses. When this all first started happening over a year ago, you know, there was closures. There was the governor ordered that certain non-essential businesses be closed, which in the end did not apply to governmental entities at all, at least municipalities. And then when that opened, when that order kind of stopped, at least in certain counties, then the next way was kind of handled was through capacity limitations. And so there are no capacity limitations, I think, at all at this point. But as of May 31st, I don't think there's any restrictions at all in Pennsylvania except for the mask. That's the intention. So there's really no reason why the LCA can't have a meeting, a public meeting at its conference room there, allowing public access. The board members can participate remotely. That's allowed by the bylaws of the authority and also by the Sunshine Act. But I think that in terms of having a space where the public can go, a physical location, I think that that's really a principle behind the Sunshine Act, and there's really no reason why it can't be provided at this point. So I would think that would be the appropriate thing to do, and then board members that have a concern to participate remotely.
So Chris, just going back to Chris's comments, the board can meet in our conference room, and we can also be virtual. So being at the facility there, we'd be able to see all other board members on Zoom if they wanted to stay home. So it'd be a hybrid kind of a thing where we meet in person and also at home through Zoom.
Correct. So the image you would see from the, we'll call it the LCA boardroom, would be the wide shot of the board table up front. You wouldn't get individual faces of the board members that are in person. You would need a camera and a microphone for each of those, and the overlap would be probably a bit confusing. But so, for example, let's say that Kevin can't make it in, he would show up on screen as he does now. One of our pictures would be the boardroom, and then Kevin Baker would be a subsequent boardroom. Any documents that Liesl or anybody else shared would be visible to the board members on the screens as been historic, and subsequently would be visible to anybody that joins remotely as well.
But if we're sitting at the front desks, the screen where we'd be able to see the Zoom board attendees would be in the back of the room?
No, it would be in the monitors in front of you, and then the large drop-down screens that we normally use.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so.
And the important thing is actually, it's nice to be able to see people, of course, but the important thing under the Sunshine Act is everyone be able to hear each other. So you'll still be able to participate by phone so long as you can hear everyone and everyone can hear you when you say something.
So you think June 7th is the date for our first meeting to be in place?
I like it.
The technology will be ready by then, yes.
Okay.
Will the participants from the community still be allowed in the room? Yes?
Yes, I would imagine.
Yes, that would be the intent, yeah.
Okay, but there's no way to screen for whether or not they've had a vaccine.
Right.
Right.
We can do a temperature check.
Right, but you can't ask them if they've had a vaccine.
No, they're supposed to wear a mask if they haven't, I think, if I recollect, they're supposed to wear a mask if they haven't been vaccinated.
Right.
But I don't think that there's any prohibition of anyone who has not been vaccinated who is wearing a mask to participate in a public meeting or social distance. I don't think. I don't think there's any social distancing requirement after May 31st.
This is Scott. My question is, if you have been vaccinated, do we have to wear a mask in the meeting?
No, I don't think you have to. Some
Right.
people are doing that, but I don't think you have to.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, again, it gets a little bit confusing because, it can change from day to day, week to week. What happened originally was the CDC released guidance, which was incorporated by reference into Pennsylvania regulations. And then something else happened, and then the governor did something else. And it just gets, it's hard to keep track of it. But my understanding is that after May 31st, the only requirement will be wearing a mask if you're not vaccinated indoors.
But you're not. But you can't ask if somebody's been vaccinated.
No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can ask someone. It's an honor system.
Right.
So our next meeting is actually June 14th, correct?
Right.
Yes.
All right. So, and like, will we be putting out a notice in advance? And
Yes.
what's the drop dead date for making that announcement of whether the meeting is going to be open to the public or through Zoom?
Well, it should be done at least 3 days in advance, in my opinion. But it should be done as soon as we can to give as much time as possible. So.
Right. Other board member comments? Who wants to have it remote or who wants to be there present?
I'm for having live meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be wherever you want me.
All right, Dick. Yeah, I'm for an in-person meeting myself. So I think we're going to be protected enough and make it available to the public as well. So, all right. I don't hear anybody else. Anything else, Liesl?
Well, yeah, I think what we can do too between now and June 14th is just make sure we test the technology that Chris has put together, and also, if if the hybrid situation works well, so that people who are in their offices or at their homes can dial in, we can kind of continue to poll the board and get a better sense of how many people will attend that first one, so that we can do some things with distancing and, you know, those kinds of things as well, just to add a little extra protection within the room. So all the staff members that you see here potentially could be participating from their offices if we have a really full room planned.
Good idea. Michael, you had said.
Well, should we have a motion then to, because we are changing things somewhat, to have a motion to hold the next LCA board meeting in person at the authority's offices with remote capabilities?
I'll make that motion.
I would just caution that we're not saying that it's an in-person meeting, that it really is a hybrid meeting to allow us. We're going to do it as a hybrid so that some folks can still attend remotely.
Well, yeah, that was always the case, but I consider it to be, if you're meeting at the location, I would consider it in person. You've always had remote capabilities.
Right.
Well, I mean, the reason why is you're going to have the meeting advertiser is going to say that you're having an in-person meeting at the LCA location with the ability for remote connection.
All right, I think the idea here is to do a motion and approve that, get that approved. But I think that I heard that you want to make sure that the technology is going to work before you make sure that it actually does happen. So I think it would be a motion pending a successful outcome of testing the capabilities, and that we can do it that way.
That's
just in case something fails, then we can backtrack that we had made the motion to attend if possible, but if it doesn't work out, then we can go back to remote as we have been doing. All right, so motion to. What was that, Dick?
Which includes snow days.
Okay. So, Michael, can you frame a motion again so that we can get a motion?
Yeah. So the motion is to resume in-person meetings at the LCA offices with remote capabilities, starting with the June 7th or June 14th meeting, subject to confirmation by the Chief Executive Officer that there will not be an issue with remote capabilities.
Okay, thank you. So that being said, board member to make that motion, and then a second.
So moved. This is Norma.
I'll second
it.
All right, I heard Dick starting that, so Dick gets a second on that. So motion made and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Thank you. Resolve that one for now. Since Mike's been on a roll, it's time for solicitor comments.
I don't have any other comments, but is lunch going to be an incentive for those to appear in person?
Absolutely.
Good. That's all I have.
All right, thanks. Any public comments at this time on any topics?
No comments.
Thanks, Brian. All right, and then we are going to have an executive session. So this board meeting is going into recess. Only the board will come back. No action is expected, I anticipate.
Correct.
So that'll be the end of the part meetings then. So the information for the executive session was on a communication that Liesl sent out yesterday, Sunday, sometime after noon. And thank you all for participating and for a good meeting. And we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
What time are we going in the executive meeting?
Oh, good point. I've got about 8 minutes before, so let's make it at 1 o'clock.
And I'll send an
Sounds
email
good.
out to the board for those who don't have that notice.
Okay, 1 o'clock then. We'll see you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.